Hi guys, Artiar here. So for this video is the continued video of the previous one, which is the one that I'm testing for Zhou in Dark Starlord, right? Because this is the only boss that can get his overtime debuff. So there's a few things I want to clarify after I ask the support or Dislyte VIP. So first thing, this design his debuff, this overtime debuff, debuff cannot inflicted on the PvE boss is intended, just like the screenshot I'm going to show you now. They did mention about it's intended the skill description will be optimized in the future update. So I also asked them about the Dark Starlord thing. Is it intended as well? If not, you have to fix it before going to global, or else player might actually try him out in Dark Starlord and then maybe they notice that like me, it can be apply debuff on Dark Starlord, then it will be an issue, because like then it will be a false advertising. People will start summoning for him just for Dark Starlord, right? So they did mention about this issue. They are still checking on it, and if it's a bug, they will fix it before launch global server. So we will check it out if they will actually fix it. But for now, let's assume they are not going to fix it. So what kind of gameplay it will actually be? So TLDR, it will definitely become very broken. So I test out from the previous video, I test out the Hall version to have a combination with him for the Infinity bonus turn. If you guys haven't watched it, you can go watch the video first. So then I saw the comment. So someone did mention, suggested me about Yun Chuan, because Yun Chuan have assist attack, and the assist attack here will not apply more debuff, right? So it will always assist like Hall, then it won't further apply more debuff, so it won't yoink the overtime debuff away. So I tested it. So Hall's one, the passive here, this damage here, for some reason it counts as a damage for Zhou to apply the overtime stack. Then if you are using Yun Chuan here, Yun Chuan will not apply it. So let me show you one example here. So let's say I'm going to apply the Yun Chuan with the Hall equipment I'm using currently. Alright, so Hall equipment, and let's take a look at the interaction. It won't trigger any overtime stack debuff for the boss. I'm thinking like maybe because that's considered as a passive damage instead of a skill damage, but Hall one is also a passive, so I have no idea as well. Alright, so I'm stacking the overtime debuff. So you notice that now every time the dog bite on the boss, it did not apply the overtime stack at all. Only the active skill, see, it's still at 2 stack. It did not apply through the dog. Maybe the overtime is just the just Yun Chuan himself, doesn't include the dog, right? So then I start to think about it. What if I actually use some consistent damage? So consistent damage such as going to be Yushu. R6 Yushu will always have a consistent assist damage. But Yushu assist damage here have a very strict condition. It's going to be if your ally only have 3 buff. Minimum 3 buff. At the let me see. Here. You only pursue damage that when when we have at least 3 buffs. So that's the reason why we have function here to give everyone buff, which is where is it? Attack up, speed up, and crit damage up. So there's 3 buff here, but it's gonna be very RNG, because if I'm just using this setup, Yushu might not assist most of the time. Not most of the time, like the first few times it will assist, but after if Zhou keep getting the repeat buff, because we're going to use Zhou to keep making Yushu to restack the overtime to let him get the bonus stack. If he keep getting the same buff, then he won't have 3 buffs. So let's say now he have only crit damage, now attack up. So he did not have 3 buff condition, so it did not fulfill the pursuit for Yushu to finish the ultimate infinity loop. So then I figured this out. We have to actually make our team to have a very consistent buff, which I'm gonna bring Momo down and actually put Sachiko up. So Sachiko here, every time when your ally takes a turn, then it will grant crit rate up for that ally. So it will become a very consistent buff, because crit rate up plus Feng Shun's any kind of 2 random buff here, then it will fulfill a 3 buff condition for Yushu. Then I tested this part. Sometimes it might still not fulfill the 3 buff, because sometimes okay, let's see. So now we have here got 4 buff. It's a bit hard to explain this part. So now I have 5 buff. We're trying to looping it over time. Right, now it's over time. 3 buff, 2 buff, 2 buff, because I repeat the attack up here instead of getting the other buff. So I did not fulfill the infinity loop. So you can look at the Dark Starlord AP bar here. Currently it's at this part. There have some time the Dark Starlord might actually take his turn, because you have out of 3 buff. Now I'm still getting consistent 3 buff. I haven't lost stack yet. Alright, almost infinity. Alright, so now it's not infinity now. You can see my Mateo actually took his turn here. So my Mateo helped me fulfill the empty slot. So to actually make it like really infinity, then I figured out another Esper is going to be Warlock. So Warlock here, it will benefit you by giving crit rate up and crit damage. So it already fulfilled 2 buff slot here. And Warlock also provides extra debuff, crit resist down, attack down, and crit rate down to the boss. So the boss have more debuff when the boss takes his action, right? So now we can actually have an infinity loop. So now let's take a look here. But all these things here, in the end of the day, might actually be a bug. But I think it will be a bug, because or else Dark Starlord Team 1 is going to be very boring, because you can just infinity loop the whole thing. Okay, now stacking out of overtime. Alright, so now the boss will always stand here forever, because every time he takes his bonus turn, he's gonna get crit rate up, crit damage up, and then 1 random buff from Feng Shun. So it's gonna be fulfill always a 3 buff. So he'll always have a 3 buff here. Then Yushu will always pursue. Then 3 of them will just keep on lingering each other. And Mateo here just does additional damage. So now the boss here got 6 debuff. Maybe Warlock failed to put his crit rate down. So if this actually brings until the global server, and maybe try to figure out a way to apply the enough debuff for the boss to not let him get his own buff, which is he will apply a special buff, Shadow Embrace. So he will not apply the Shadow Embrace, but you need 10 stack of debuff. So if you can figure out a way, but I think this is the most infinity way, which is these 4 Esper together, and maybe Mateo can change to other Esper to try apply a lot debuff at the start of the combat. Then it will become every turn here is always your turn, and every turn there's gonna be 3 Esper attacking the boss. Infinity loop. And you can see my score just keep going up for our phase 1. Alright, so but in the end of the day, I'm 95% sure this is actually a bug or not. Maybe it's not something they intended to do. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna fix it by not letting him apply the debuff to the boss. But it's actually pretty fun to see like this kind of bug to make it infinity run. But to be honest, they should actually remove the debuff from the boss, because or else Zhou Hong here we're just gonna get infinity bonus turn, and that's no longer a very fun gameplay for Dark Starlord Team 1. Alright, so that's all for this video. Feel free to comment down what you guys think about it, and see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Special thanks for the direct support on the YouTube membership. So for the benefactor of Artiar, which is Yakishiba Tales Epic Bullet Boy, thank you so much for your support. And for the supporter or patron of Artiar, which is Louis Schneider, Agni, Wang Tamer, Ziggy, Kamaruki, Sunwalks, Rimu, Chani, Antonio Winterspoon, Yun Chuan, Riku Fred X Iris, Calamity, Rocco Stenzions, thank you so much for your support. Special thanks for the direct support on the live stream super chat for the latest 10. Thank you so much for Code Wilderness, Calamity, Agni, Love Fatima, Fatima Little Underwear, Bloods, Riku Fred, Chani. Thank you so much for your support.